Of the many conflicts between the galaxy's factions, none was more brutal than the recent colony war between the UC and the Freestar Collective. Set off by the unauthorized Freestar colonization of Vesta's Pride in 2308, a direct violation of the Nerion Treaty, the colony war spread quickly across the galaxy. Both sides deployed every tool at their disposal. Armadas of warships, mechanized combat platforms, or mechs, even bioengineered alien creatures, the infamous UC xeno-weapons. It was only in 2311 at the Battle of Cheyenne that the scales finally tipped, the Freestar Collective, utilizing their civilian fleet as a human shield, successfully crippled the superior United Colonies Navy. After their shocking victory against the galaxy's greatest navy, the Freestar Collective offered terms of peace, which the colonies, out of an interest in staving off any further human costs, accepted. The galaxy has been rebuilding ever since.
I suspect many in the Freestar Collective would take issue with the way the colony war is represented here.
Few settled worlds were left untouched by the colony war. But nowhere could the viciousness of modern warfare be seen more clearly than on the Freestar planet of Nera. Initially occupied by invading United Colonies forces as a forward operating position, repeated attempts to take and retake the planet by collective forces led only to devastation. Swaths of the world were transformed into scorched husks, a nightmarish testament to the depths of human ingenuity and human cruelty. And today, Nera remains a continuing reminder to the horrors of unfettered war.
You know, I really hope this is just a phase.
Dad wanted me? No one knows how they move between planets. I wonder if they can grav jump or something.
Tragedy struck the UC city of Londinian. A newly constructed but critical supply center for the United Colonies' war effort, Londinian found itself overrun by one of the galaxy's most mysterious predators, the Terramorph. A rare but pervasive threat to all human-settled worlds, Terramorphs swept over the city seemingly out of nowhere on a scale never before seen in recorded history. Valiant efforts by the UC military slowed the onslaught, but the creatures proved unstoppable.
Can't stop staring.
Ultimately, the decision was made to destroy the Londinian spaceport, seal off the city, the outbreak, and its citizenry from the galaxy at large. The tragedy of Londinian is mourned by the UC to this day. Devastation wrought by the colony war, the UC and the Freestar Collective came together to ratify a treaty that became known as the Armistice. Both sides agreed to a vast reduction in standing forces, and that xeno-weapons and mech warfare would be outlawed. All related research was sealed away, accessible only in cases of dire emergency. But the Collective had another demand, that the active commanders of the UC military stand trial for their actions. The United Colonies, in the interest of peace and galactic security, agreed. In 2311, 3 United Colonies senior officers were found guilty. Commander Henry Durant, General Indira Rastogi, and Fleet Admiral Francois Sanon, known better as Ve Victus. All were sentenced to death for their actions, bringing the colony war to a close and returning peace to the galaxy at long last.
After everything, it is almost impossible to believe that the armistice happened. But I admit I am glad it did. The settled systems have benefited.
Having a good one?
It was into this new world that the Vanguard was born. An official branch of the UC Navy, the Vanguard is the United Colonies Volunteer Fleet, serving a myriad of security, logistical, and reconnaissance roles. And after a sufficient length of service, UC citizenship is guaranteed to every Vanguard member. Open to all captains, regardless of origin, the Vanguard is leading the charge to protect and support the citizens of the United Colonies, wherever in the galaxy they may be. No one is born a United Colonies citizen. Only through service to the UC can one hope to earn one's citizenship. But the UC prides itself on taking care of its people. Cost of living controls mean citizens pay less than their foreign counterparts for needs big and small. All citizens are issued a grant upon joining to get themselves on their feet. And only UC citizens have the opportunity to purchase property, getting the chance to live in one of the most beautiful cities in the settled systems. By joining the Vanguard today, you too can begin earning your place here, in the heart of galactic civilization, as a citizen of the United Colonies.
This thing's like an artist's rendition, right? No animal can be this ugly in real life.
You enlisting too? I've always wanted to live in New Atlantis, but they only let citizens buy property, so here I am.
I really hope all this historical junk isn't gonna be on the test.
Whew. Always a satisfying moment. Return to the ship.
Looks peaceful from up here, doesn't it?
Captain, it is pleasant to see you.
Now that those artifacts aren't just blips of hope in the blackest sea, I found an interesting pattern. The grav anomaly generated by one of those artifacts, it matches one on another planet. A bigger one. The ones we found, anyway. No telling what this is, but you can feel that excitement in the air, can't you? It's something important. Going to send you the mark close as I can, but I'm having trouble pinpointing the source. You'll need to explore the area on foot. Put your scanner to work. Don't know what you'll find. Keep your eyes open. No, just need to follow your scanner to the real destination. Might be a boot's journey, but that's the explorer's lot sometimes. You're looking for the eye of the storm. Whole thing is a whirlwind, but getting to the source, need to wear your patience thick.
What did you need? Yes, of course. I have done so in the past, when necessary, but I am not the best pilot, and it seems prudent to apply my skills where they are most useful. Lately, that means aiding you. And that, I think, has worked out very well. You might find it absurd, but honestly, the Lodge. I have never been surrounded by such a remarkable group of people, present company included. It has been a very long time since I have been someplace that could possibly feel like home. There are worlds beyond count out there, but that feeling is rare and precious. I hope that was informative. Back to it then. Did you need something? I am always willing to carry an... If I can take a... Until next time. Is something amiss? I have never been one to shy away from short... Mm-hmm. Goodbye.
That anomaly is a damn sight bigger than a regular artifact. No telling what you'll find.
Hi. Please disregard.
Any adventure you can fly away from. Is that how the saying goes?
Ships separated. Engaging drive. We're here, hot off the stellar slide. Guns are hot. Going in.
Hail acknowledged. Star station operating under automated control. No further response possible. Hail acknowledged. Star station operating under automated control. No further response possible.
Airlock integrity looks good.
Greetings, Captain.
triumphant. You have my attention. Ah, yes, we are done. Cold here. Too cold to be safe, for sure.
Hello, Captain. Captain, greetings. Return soon. Hello.
No matter how complex, robot behavior is programmed, and therefore predictable. I find that reassuring.
How can I be of service, Captain?
Let us try not to be responsible for any industrial-sized accidents while we are here. Come then. Meet your death. focus. Give up already. Best not to leave anything useful behind. I cannot wait to kill you. efficient process. I wonder how quickly they built things. Did they have anything of value? Facilities like this often prioritize profit over safety for the workers. The spoils of victory. Hopefully they amount to something. This could be producing any number of materials or goods. Care to take a guess on what it might be? This reminds me of a food processing plant I once visited. They were using local fauna and the smell was... well, we had to be there. I find the interior of this ship comforting. If Vasco needed replacement parts or some additions, this might be the place.
I'm up for a little adventure.
Operation.
thrusters free. Forwards, right.
They've restored power to their shields.
Jumping out of here.
This is the Freestar Collective vessel. Please respond. That got a little too exciting back there. Most ships would have bugged out and left us with this mess. But you, total class act. Any way we can repay you? Pick 'em clean then. You take care.
Starting landing procedure.
Such beauty in the midst of nothingness.
Hello. I am satisfied to see that you survived your most recent sleep cycle.
What does your scanner reveal?
what this looked like before the colony war. What a waste.
Loud and clear. It's been 19 years, and the UC's still dealing with the fallout from losing the colony war. Don't know if the economy will ever be the same again. All right, just let me... Just keep things civil, all right? Interested in some UC sightseeing? You should pay New Homestead a visit. See how they lived way back in the early 22nd century.
I can understand wanting to honor or even celebrate history, but this may take it too far.
Welcome to New Homestead. Please make your way to the building at the end of the path and down into the colony below. Stay safe and enjoy your visit.
Got anything you need to offload? Anything I can help you with? You were able to land it, so I'm sure whatever's broken. I'm sure you can find...
There is value to be found in looking back through history, provided one does not cling too tightly to it.
Enjoy your visit here.
informative. I didn't know about the methane harvesters before coming here.
The, Brown Horse Tavern, was it, huh? The food was better than I expected from a backwoods planet like this.
It has a quaint charm, doesn't it?
Just like the rest of New Homestead.
Well, I hope you'll come back and see us again sometime. And I hope you'll consider another Star Sap tour. Tell your friends.
Bye. We will. Thanks again.
Excuse me, Bill. You've got to do a better job of keeping your tour groups out of trouble.
What do you mean?
That little boy almost wound up on my operating table. Claudio said he was playing with some of the machinery down by the mines and nearly got his arm stuck inside. It could have been ripped off.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, kids, little troublemakers. I'll tell the guests to be more careful.
Damn right. You've got to do something. Or else next time it happens, I'm billing you personally.
Yeesh. Why, hello there! I'm Bill Starsap of Starsap Tours. Let me tell you, this place is full of history and interesting facts. For instance, did you know that New Homestead was one of the first colonies established outside of Earth? It's been populated in some capacity for over 200 years. Well, there's plenty more where that came from if you're interested in taking one of my famous tours. So what do you say? I've got an opening. I could take you on a tour right now if you'd like. Excellent! You won't regret it. My tours are one of a kind. Now, there's just the matter of price. The going rate for a genuine Starsap tour is only 100 credits.
What don't you get?
Earth.
Great! Let's get this show on the road, eh? All right, so this is New Homestead's main concourse. This underground area didn't exist when the original outpost, Titan Astro Base, was finished in 2130. Follow me. We'll come back here by the end of the tour and talk about the museum collection. But first, let's go see where people live.
Maybe I need to look up
now
more
remember,
about it.
These people aren't actors. They actually live here, so try to be respectful of that. While the original inhabitants of the Titan Astro Base lived in pods like you saw up above, they transitioned down here when this section of the base was finished in 2144. Space is extremely limited, so you'll notice some overflow here, but more residences also exist on lower levels, which are inaccessible to tours. I'll stop at each of our destinations if you want to look around, or if you have any questions for me.
Another tourist. Just do me a favor and stay out of trouble. It's hard enough dealing with our own sick and injured. Great! Another tourist. Let me guess. You slipped on the ice and need a doctor to wrap your sprained ankle? Well, that's a relief. Sorry if I sounded a bit hostile. It's just frustrating sometimes that I have to devote so much time and energy to outside people when our own people need me more. Anyway, what can I do for you? It's a harsh world, but as long as you're inside or wear a suit when going out, you'll be fine here. There's no breathable air on the surface, and you'll quickly freeze to death outside without protective gear, but otherwise the hazards are minimal. New Homestead was an early colony research base and has stood the test of time. It's safe, and it's proof that people can live pretty much anywhere. Don't worry so much. Even though we don't have shiny new medical facilities, I imagine it's easier than wherever you're from. We have fewer people here, and we're very responsible when it comes to our personal health and welfare. So there's not much I can't handle. For anything else, we can get access to off-world specialists. Contrary to popular belief, we're not primitive. I'm sure I've got something. I don't. They make a mockery of New Homestead culture. And on top of it, they're reckless. It's like I said before, I feel like I'm treating them more often than our own people. Actually, maybe there is. I have an idea that may be best suited for someone relatively unknown, instead of myself. I've got a mountain of work and a reputation to maintain. So I bought a realistic monster costume. The plan was to wear it, scare tourists away, and start a rumor about terrible creatures living on Titan. I figure that once word gets around, tourism will take enough of a dive to give me some relief. I can't blame you, but I've got to try it anyway. Let me know if you change your mind.
Must be nice to be able to afford to travel, huh? Oh, you don't really want to talk to me. I'm just a nobody from the crates. Besides, I'm not really good at talking to tourists about New Homestead. If you're really interested in our history, talk to Maurice. He's a lot better at that than I am. You do? I mean, sure. I don't know what I can tell you, but if you want to talk, I don't have anything else I need to do right now. Well, I'm trying to finish up my undergrad schooling, actually. I want to be a physicist like my grandmother. Then, who knows what. But I also do some odd jobs here or there for money. Sometimes I help Jay out at his shop, and he gives me stuff in return. Sometimes I help Anya clean up at the Brown Horse when she's short-staffed. That sort of thing. The crates are what we call the living quarters for the poor people, like me. They're made from old shipping containers. We have to make do with the space we have here. They're comfortable enough, I guess. And no one on Titan is well off to begin with, but you can tell that people look down on us, especially some of the tourists. Okay, well, no, not the studies specifically. Like, I get good grades when I'm able to apply myself. But I'm poor. I just don't have the kind of money to be a full-time student and support myself. Even living in the cheap-ass crates. I keep having to take odd jobs just to put food on my plate. And when I do, my grades suffer. I just feel like I'll be stuck in a rut forever. What? Really? I don't know what to say. This is beyond kind of you. I mean, I don't even know you, but... Wow. Thank you.
I did not have the opportunity for a formal education of that kind. but I recognize its value. You are good to assist her. Indeed I do. All yours. That is all? Very well.
Hey. It's not as bad as you'd think. I like talking to off-worlders, especially people my age. It gives me ideas for what I want to do when I'm done with school. Because, honestly, I'm not sure I want to stay here. It'll always... Thanks for stopping by to talk.
It's always so cold here. I kind of want to try food from that Junk's place, but my papa says it's just a bunch of junk food for tourists.
Off-worlders always ask how I can live here. I wonder how they can live anywhere else.
I could really go for some of Anya's cooking over the brown horse.
If you need medical attention, see Dr. Lakota. But a word of warning...
New Homestead is a living history exhibit, but these are real people, so please be kind to them.
Thanks again for what you did for me. I'll remember your generosity.
It's a little weird that people come here to see what early colony life was like. To me, it's just how we live.
Those folks in Sidonia may be closer to Earth, but we do a better job preserving its traditions.
Come on. There are worlds to conquer.
All these tourists are able to come and go as they please. I wish I had that kind of money. You off-worlders have it made.
Have any questions so far? The original Titan Astrobase had more habitation pods on the surface connected to some of the old structures you may have seen in the back. As the colony grew, the base was expanded underground, and those hab units were recycled into materials used down here. Sadly, it's difficult to get additional construction done inside these underground caverns. So for now, additional populations are housed in these stacks of old shipping crates. As you might expect, this is where some of the less wealthy can afford to live. It's not glamorous, but they are functional and cozy. Oh sure, I'll be here waiting. Have any questions so far? I'm not sure the exact... What you see is what you get for the most part. Some, particularly security, and yours truly, even commute from other worlds. Alrighty, we'll be taking the residential elevator to the farms area on the surface level. This way, please. Let's leave these good people alone for now and go check out the farms. Follow me up the elevator.
Do you have a spaceship? I want to get a spaceship when I'm older. They're so cool.
The people here live a simple life. Try not to complicate it.
New Homestead's farms are the beating heart of the colony. Without them, the original outpost would have shriveled and died. These pods are... sealed and climate controlled, the perfect environment for growing the hydroponic vegetation needed for survival in the early days of the colony.
Someone's got to talk to Joyce about these brownouts.
Any questions about the farms? Oh, they are indeed. Colonists still cultivate plant-based food for their own consumption here in New Homestead. It's less vital to their survival these days, as they also import supplemental food from other colonies, including meats, dairy, and synthetics. However, most citizens here take pride in a New Homestead-grown, sustainable diet. These days, it's a mix of what you find elsewhere in the galaxy, but in the olden days, it was all brought over from Earth. It was a lot of hardy root vegetables like potatoes, carrots, beets, and such, supplemented with corn, peas, green beans, soy, etc., which didn't always grow as well. Good question. It's largely the same, because this was the colony that pioneered the techniques you see elsewhere. But you'll notice that the farms here are smaller and staffed by humans, not robots. Things here are a little more old-fashioned compared to some of the large factory farms you'll find elsewhere in the settled systems. By all means, go right ahead. Feel free to talk to them. Come back and let me know.
Do you come from one of those planets with beautiful skies and fresh air? My, how I'd love to visit one day. Ah, someone new. Are you a tourist, or have you just moved to New Homestead? Well, there's lots to learn. You can always feel... I'm fascinated by the other worlds in the settled systems. Do you mind if I ask you a question? Oh, wonderful. What's New Atlantis like? Oh my, that sounds incredible. Ever since I overheard one of the tourists speaking about it, we hear about it, of course, but we rarely get much exposure to other worlds beyond the people who come from them to visit our little colony. I wonder if I can convince Nathaniel to go on a trip there with me and our daughter. Do you mind if I ask you another question? Thanks. I promise not to take too much of your time. Is the Freestar Collective as lawless as I've heard? I figured the stories weren't all true. How else would you expect people to live together if you can't trust in laws to keep everyone safe? Even in a small community like ours, we have to maintain law and order. Though, I understand it gets difficult to always protect that out in the vastness of space. I imagine it's the same in the Freestar Collective. Is it okay if I change the subject? Oh, thank you. Are there really planets full of plants, fresh air, and water? I've read about them. It seems incredible, doesn't it? I've only ever known Titan, and it's always so cold and drab. I've always dreamed of visiting one to breathe the air, feel the warmth of its sun, but my husband is reluctant to leave our home. Can I ask you something else? Thanks. I promise not to take too much of your time. Is space travel as exciting as it seems? I've heard stories about pirates and spaceship malfunctions and all sorts of terrible things. I've always wanted to try going into space, but I'm also worried about all those dangers. Maybe people here are right. The dangers here are few, and we know how to take care of them. Space is too unknown. Those are all the questions I have at the moment. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day for me.
I always wonder what it's like where other people come from. Hello? I'm not really supposed to talk with tourists, but I kind of want... You're not going to tell him, are you? Oh, thank you! I promise it'll be fun. I like talking to... Now what should we talk about? Not really. There's some, though. Most are around my age. My mama says it's because he thinks we'd up and leave if we found out about the rest of the world. But I keep telling him, I love it here, and I love him, and I would never leave him. He doesn't believe it. He says the kids almost always want to leave when they grow up. But not me. Nope. I just want to visit somewhere else. Maybe. I don't... We mostly learn about the history of the Sol system and Earth and stuff like that until we get old enough to go on our learning vacation. that's when we get to leave to go to school somewhere else for a few years. Or travel and visit other worlds, try out jobs and stuff. Oh, I can't wait. I think it's pretty fun. And I get to be around my mama and my papa all day, so that's cool. They say we all have to work a little, because it takes all of us to make the community work. Just like on Earth a really, really, really long time ago. Someday, I think it'd be cool to see other places and do other things, but this is fine for now. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me.
Hi there. Always nice seeing a new face. I overheard you speaking to my wife, Mara, filling her head with ideas about picking up and leaving home. You got anything to say for yourself? Listen here. Mara's free to make her own decisions. I'm not here to control her if that's what you're insinuating. But that doesn't mean I take kindly to other people manipulating her and telling her the other worlds are full of sunshine and rainbows. We live a simple traditional life here, and it's important to the community that we maintain that. Do you understand? Traditions like the way we tend this farm, strong family ties, early colonial life. We do it all with the bare minimum technologies to survive. Everything else is hard work done by humans. It's good for humanity's soul. We're going to have to agree to disagree then. I only ask that you respect our wishes.
Hello. Don't mind me. I love talking with off-worlders like you.
Sure would be nice to get off-world sometime.
Any questions about the farms? Onward it is! We'll be stopping by the Brown Horse Tavern later in the tour, which uses many of these locally sourced ingredients in their cooking. But for now, it's just a short way to our next stop. Follow me! So, the old biolabs are just on the other side of this building, believe it or not. We'll step on through the hallway there. They're not in use anymore, but the colony has faithfully recreated them as a historical exhibit, true to the original purpose of the Titan Astrobase. Sadly, they're undergoing some light renovation. Otherwise, there'd be interactive activities for kids to learn about how they used to search for microbial life here.
Heads up if you're planning on going to Chunks. Luther's been bothering anyone with a ship for help.
Pardon the dust, but I can still answer some questions about the old Titan Astrobase biolabs. Oh, I'm sorry. I completely forgot to mention that. That's what this place was originally called. When NASA divested its interest in the Astrobase and turned it over to the people back in 2185, they renamed it New Homestead and established it as a historical site. Funny you should ask! Sadly, none. See, NASA funded the Titan Astrobase project because conditions seemed ripe for primordial life to form in Titan's methane pools. They tested many different sites, performed deep core ice drilling, and more, yet nothing turned up. Well, NASA defunded the xenobiology program in 2132, but a scientist by the name of Catherine Neely proposed research into advanced colony building on inhospitable worlds. So, by 2135, work began on what would ultimately set us all up to create habitats anywhere humans dared to explore. These very labs housed the computer systems used in that research. That and general storage for the colony. Lots of storage. Sure thing. Keep in mind the Biolabs exhibit is closed for visitors, but I'll be waiting if you need a minute anyway.
Boring assignment, but let's keep it that way.
Careful. There are some dangerous areas around here that are not part of any tours. Welcome to New Homestead.
get used to the methane processing smell after a while.
Hello?
Don't stay outside for too long here on Titan.
Pardon the dust, but I can still answer. You got it. On to our next, we'll be heading outside, so make sure to check those seals on your suit because it's a bit chilly out there. We're going out into the frozen wastes of Titan to see what powers this planet. Watch your step outside, by the way. The ice can be slippery if you're not careful. The goal is to keep people out of Dr. Lakota's infirmary.
Anyway, where were we? Oh, yes. Powering New Homestead. As you might imagine, generating energy was a real challenge back in the day because the technology was much more crude then. But crude or not, it was that technology that sustained the old Astro base. And it might surprise you to learn that the same technology is still working today. The interesting thing about this old colony is that it's mostly powered by clean, renewable energy. You'll see one of the methods used on the horizon up ahead. That's right! New Homestead's famous wind farms! This spot was chosen for the colony in part because of its constant winds. These turbines have been integral to the colony's function since its establishment as a cheap, mostly reliable source of electricity. So, let's talk about wind power, shall we? You're right. Most surface wind on Titan isn't too terribly strong, but here, the altitude and other conditions are perfect for sustained wind power. Like many worlds with atmosphere, the higher you go, the windier it gets. You're looking at a piece of history. Sure, wind power is used throughout the galaxy, but these people were able to make do. It's impressive! That was all they had back then. Mostly. I'm sure you've noticed the occasional brownouts. I guess these old machines have a habit of freezing. There's some methane on reserve for critical life support systems, but everything... Absolutely. Careful, though.
not to point that thing at me.
So, let's talk. You're the boss. Let's go. Moving right along, we're going to learn about Titan's great natural resources. Titan is rich with hydrocarbons like methane and ethane. Surely you saw huge pools of the stuff on your descent into New Homestead. I like to think they add to the natural beauty of this world. Of course, stay away from them because, like anything beautiful, they can be dangerous. Just like my last ex-wife's pet. She had this gorgeous, I don't know what you'd call it, creature. The guy that sold it to her couldn't tell her what it was or where it was from. I don't think it was even a legal sell, to be honest. The thing was very easy on the eyes. Feathers, all the colors of the rainbow. Nasty bite, though. Wound up in the hospital and almost lost my hand. Still not enough for her to get rid of the dang thing. Anyway, there's a reason she's my ex-wife. But enough about me. We were talking about methane and other resources, right? Hey, can you believe it? Back in the 20th century on Earth, they used to fight wars over natural resources like this and petroleum. They had this whole moon here basically made of hydrocarbons in their own backyard. They just couldn't get to it. Incredible how far we've come. New Homestead is home to one of the oldest and largest methane processing plants in the settled system. Every year, UC engineers go through a painstaking, month-long maintenance process. That's how this place has remained operational as long as it has. I'm not going to take you too close to the machinery, liability and all, but I can still answer questions. Questions? Fire away! It's not as if they shut down for a month. It's not shut down at all, actually. See, this place is built with redundant systems, so they can shut it down piece by piece. During that time, the UC gets more of its resources from other places, allowing New Homestead to maintain what it needs. Exports mostly, since this world is so methane-rich and has the infrastructure for it, a lot of the UC's methane comes from Titan. Of course, New Homesteaders use it themselves for everything from generating heat to turning it into breathable oxygen via modern science. Oh, no one's ever asked me that before. Something to do with methane-eating microbes, I believe? I honestly don't know. Sorry. Take your time. But not too much time. Don't want to keep other customers waiting. Questions? Fire away! Okie dokie, artichokey. There will be time for more later anyway. So, this next stop is a bit of an interesting one. I only recently made it part of the tour. Fun fact, it's also the only natural landmark on the tour. What we're about to see is a glacial spire we affectionately call Ymir's Horn. This colus used to be named after a character in a popular fantasy novel, but it was changed a couple hundred years ago to avoid any potential litigation. Now, what's a colus, you might say? Colus derives from the Latin word for hill, and scientists only gave names to groups of hills on a planet's surface. So in reality, the term you hear more often is the plural, coles, with an E. You probably don't hear it very often where you're from, because it was usually a term reserved for unexplored planets, back when they didn't have the technology to describe what they were seeing firsthand. Because of that, the term is much more common in the Sol system, but you may still hear it occasionally in reference to uncharted worlds. This planet's full of them, though, and they like to preserve that history here. So here it is, Ymir's Horn. You're free to take a closer look if you like. According to ancient Norse mythology, Ymir was the first Jotun, a frost giant. In the legend, they were both male and female and gave birth to the progenitors of all giants from their armpits. Ymir even predated the Norse gods, who, as it turns out, killed Ymir to fashion the Earth and all of humanity from the corpse. It's a fascinating story, and the horn here is a fitting tribute to it. I've heard this particular formation was caused by an ancient volcano. Something about steam and wind, then... Just be careful, it can get slippery out.
Blowing off some steam?
So here it is. Excellent. On to... So, we're gonna head back inside through the methane processing plant. Try not to touch anything on your way. We want to make sure to respect Dr. Lakota's wishes to be safer around here. About what they do here. Their rugged lifestyle is a point of pride for a lot of these folks.
Mind tourists, we help the local economy.
This area we're walking through is the nerve center of the plant, where technicians keep an eye on the operation. Since methane production is such an important part of the colony's livelihood, it's important that the techs notice any issues and react to them quickly. Anyway, we're headed into the ice mines. It's a natural spring where water bubbles up from deep below, but due to the cold, it keeps freezing as it reaches the surface.
Lots of history.
What else can I tell you about the ice mines? I wouldn't recommend it. First, it's an active work site. Second, it still needs to be filtered, but don't worry, we'll stop somewhere. Good question. I believe it has something to do with not wanting to contaminate the water with methane and other. The ice helps prevent impurities in the water. Not all. Some water is created as a byproduct of methane processing, but that's usually saved in the emergency reserves. Of course, watch your...
Another tourist come to learn about the ice mines, huh? It's dangerous in the ice mines. I'd much rather answer your questions than have you going off to explore on your own. For one, New Homestead is not a wealthy colony. But we also pride ourselves on doing things the old ways. It's part of the living history, they say. We don't mind. We work hard here. For drinking water. And we use some of it to produce this air you're breathing. We recycle a lot of what we use, but we still need a nice, steady supply of fresh water. Lucky for us, Titan provides. I'm surprised I still get this question. It's slippery, it's sharp, it can break, it can cave in. Those are just the obvious examples. Titan is also full of methane, which can sometimes be trapped under the ice. As you know, methane can explode under the right conditions. It can also asphyxiate you if you breathe. Ah, so you can relate. It's good to to talk with someone who understands the challenges of the job. Not everyone does. If I might ask, what do you mind? Oh. That's... But, visions, you say, huh? Oh. That sounds more like what those people... Anyway, I'm sure we could swap my... Bye.
I find myself suddenly very grateful for our accommodations in the lodge.
What else can I tell you? Sounds good! We have just one more stop before we're done with the tour, and it just happens to be my favorite! This colony is home to the longest-running establishment still in existence, the Brown Horse Tavern! The Brown Horse started as a simple mess hall for the scientists and workers when the underground was built, but it's been operated by the same family ever since. Now, what's a horse, you might say? They were a large four-legged animal on Earth, often used for transportation or manual labor. Long before space travel was even a dream for the folks of Earth, even before antique machines like automobiles were possible, horses could be found everywhere. You might have seen them in old movies or read about them somewhere. If not, I highly recommend looking into them sometime. They're beautiful animals. The tavern's original owner was infatuated with them, from what I understand, and named the place in their honor. The moniker, Brown Horse Tavern, is also a throwback to names of similar Earth restaurants hundreds of years before it was established.
We churn our own butter. He completely bought it.
That delicious smell is making me hungry.
Yeah, but I just wanted to see how they'd react.
Anya Seattle is the current owner of the Brown Horse. It's been in the Seattle family for generations. But Anya will be able to tell you more herself. Feel free to ask her. It doesn't... Ooh, that's a tough one. I honestly... You want the real answer? Order... Easy. All the other ones fell to ruin when we abandoned Earth. There were technically older ones on Mars, but those... Oh yeah, by all means. Stop in for a moment.
Welcome to the Brown Horse. Welcome, I'm Anya. Is this your first time with us at the Brown Horse Tavern? Oh, well, thank you for joining us. We've got an assortment of food and drinks. So, what can I do for you? Oh, hardly. The locals pretty much stay away from chunks, so whenever they don't feel like cooking themselves and want a fresh meal, they come to me. Only the tourists eat that junk. But don't tell that to my husband. He manages the chunks. I love him, but... You mean the Brown Horse? Well, there's a lot of history within these walls. And my however many great-grandmother opened it when the first colony started. Back then, it was a simple mess hall that she chose to put a little extra love and flavor into. Let me show you what we have. Hope you'll be back sometime.
That delicious smell... Okay then. All right, we're headed to the last stop. Right back where we began. Feel free to check out the museum exhibit at the main concourse here. These displays are full of rare
Word of advice, steer clear of the docks.
We used to get more tourists.
Happy to talk about the collection.
Well, I suppose this is one way to make a living. And if New Homestead deems it necessary.
Well, that's that! I hope you and... Oh, wow. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your stay in New...
Perhaps in the future we could skip the extra steps and just set your cred stick on fire directly?
Take care!
Feel free to look around, but don't touch.
Something off a tourist real cheap. I think you're gonna like it.
We take vandalism seriously here. You don't mess with history.
Sure would be nice to get off world sometime.
Hello.
I know you didn't have to give me money, but thanks. I appreciate it.
It's been a while since I last visited. Nice to see
Well,
this place.
hello there,
It's the same
and welcome to my little... Oh, nice. You know, it's always... I'm Jay. I'm happy to help you find what you're looking to buy, or if you have any questions for me. Glad you asked. I'm looking for all sorts of... We don't get a lot of off-world stock, so... Between you and me, people around here talk a lot about tradition and what... I love them. Some are indifferent about it, while a few others... But that being said, I believe are generally friendly to me. Sure thing. I'm also interested in buying if you have anything for... We used to, but not anymore. Believe it or not, the new Homestead Tourism Board, we don't really have the resources or facilities. Only thing we have are these souvenir slates. Tell you what, I've got an extra one here that another guest left. Take care.
Ah, to lay eyes on the earth just once.
New Homestead is a living history exhibit. But these are real people.
Then, first, you should
Enjoy our visit here.
Always good to keep the location of the ship in mind when suits are required.